Dear respected Thai, dear sisters and brothers from Wake Up Philly tonight, I'm very pleased to be with you. We just had the meditation about in, out, deep, slow, where we realized that the less we do, the more we are at peace. And this is actually also something I want to talk about today, is how we can allow ourselves to just be. Many of us, we don't have a choice, but we are at home and we cannot do much. Some of us can work from home, some of us not. Most of us are asked to stay at home and to go out only for the necessary. So how to be with ourselves and how to allow ourselves to be, while often a restlessness is there, the desire or the wish to be productive, to be of use, to be contributing to something, and it's more difficult to do nothing than to do something, even if this something we would do would be meaningless or senseless or not even helpful, but it gives us a certain purpose, like we're doing something. We believe that we are helping someone, at least ourselves. But I don't know if this is really true. And I'm seeing many photos on social media about the COVID thing, and people seem to come up with great ideas and humor. And I don't know if they do it to make, I don't believe they make it to make fun of the situation, but to relieve a little bit of these worries and to relieve a little bit of this release suffering and worrying. So whatever. This photo said, like, for the first time in our lives, we can literally save the world by staying home and doing nothing. Don't mess it up. And I loved it so much. Like literally, you're staying home, you're doing nothing, everything you were always wishing for when you have to get up at 6 and be at work at 7 and say, if I only could. Here we are. And often, and this is what this sentence is pointing at, often it is so difficult for us and we want to mess it up. So how do we do that? In our Plum Village tradition, our literacy is a little bit different, and the way we address things are a little bit different. I would say even sometimes we flip side expressions. For example, when we strike the bell, we don't say in Plum Village, would you please strike the bell? And when we hear the sound of a bell, we all stop and come back to our breathing in order to come to that place where we were in our guided meditation. When we come back to the present moment, to the island within. That's what we do. That's why we have a lot of bells a day. But we don't say striking the bell. We say, can you please invite the bell to sound to our ears? And that is something, there's a beauty in that. There is respect and reverence for the bell. The bell is not simply a tool to help me slow down or become more at peace, but we appreciate and acknowledge the bell as the one who brings the peace, who offers the sound that makes us stop, that brings us back to ourselves. And that's something very beautiful, what has been lost in our language, I guess. That everything we say is something active. We do it. We make it. But to allow things to do something with us and surrendering to it, as we did in the meditation, the more we surrender to the breathing, the deeper it will bring us. The deeper it will bring us, the more peace and relaxation we will experience. The more peace and relaxation we experience, the closer we are to ourselves, the more present we are, and the more empowered we are to know that this place exists and can serve us, is there actually, is there all the time. And the question is if we are there. So peace and calm are there at all times. Are we available for it? Are we there? And what we do in Plum Village is we make ourselves available by stopping our thinking, starting to follow our breathing and making ourselves available to the present moment. The same is true with deep relaxation. If you have had the joy of a deep relaxation, we don't say we go relax. How do you relax? I mean, you have to do nothing in order to relax, right? How can you do relaxation? Okay, I do a total relaxation. I'm curious, how do you do that? You know, you have to become still to relax. So what we say, we're allowing our body to rest. We are allowing our body to relax. And we go to different body parts like the legs, the arms, the shoulders, as we did. And we say, we're allowing our shoulders to rest. They're always carrying something, either backpacks or worries. Now we're allowing them to just hang loose. And you can feel it. You say it, and then in the same moment, you feel it. Tai goes even that far that he tells the monastics, but also every practitioner, if we express difficulties to keep our mind calm during sitting meditation, to let the Buddha sit for us. He said, just let the Buddha sit for you. Or when at walking meditation, we feel we are distracted by so many beauty around us, by the fragrances, by the birds, and we lose momentum and our mind starts to wandering off. He said, let the Buddha walk for you. And this is something very beautiful and very deep, I found, that we underestimate, that we can touch peace, that we can touch ourselves by doing nothing, by just staying home. And this has a double meaning. In our homes and also in our true homes, staying in our home inside, not craving for this, not looking for that, not trying to fulfill or to fill emptiness within us, or going to the fridge and eating something, or listen to a certain piece of music, playing PlayStation, or trying to calm our senses by feeding them, but to come back to ourselves. This is something very rich. We certainly need always conditions to be sufficient, we say. And when we see and recognize certain conditions, we can allow ourselves to be. When you see a baby, for example, a baby can do nothing on its own. Like you have to carry it around. If a baby wants to go to another room, you have to carry it to the other room. If you don't carry it, it will cry until you carry it over. If a baby is hungry, it cries. And you laugh, you know what I'm talking about. And you have to feed it. When we are old, it is similar. You need help from other people. And we rely on conditions, we rely on others. We realize that we cannot make it on our own. In the middle of our lives, we believe that we are empowered. We are separate selves. We don't need anyone. We can reach everything. We can do, I don't know, 100, 500,000 a year. We can buy this. We can do that. We can have the perfect partner. We can have perfect biceps. And we want to all, but we all have to do it and we have to invest it. And we are digging and sweating and working all the time. Just to realize at one point that it is tiring. We don't really get what we wanted, but it's something maybe in that direction, but really not what we were dreaming of. And there's nobody to save us from who we are. And at one point we see that it didn't work out. And we become old and we need again our children to take care of us, or somebody to make us food, or even to feed us. So what I want to say is our practice, transformation, healing is something like that. Transformation is something that happens to us when we transform anger, when we transform sexual energy, when we transform depressions, frustrations, pain, something that we carry around with us and we want to transform like mud. Mud transforms into a lotus. The compost, when well worked with and put on the soil, can become a flower again. So Thai teaches us that our suffering can become our happiness, because they're not separate. They are the same. One arises from the other, comes and goes, as impermanence comes and goes. And all we can do is to watch it, because it happens all by itself. We don't force happiness to happen, but we enjoy it when it is there. And we don't force suffering to happen, but everybody knows after good times, there will be bad times. And we are also there, because we know they will also go away. It is only our mind who attaches itself to ideas of how the world should be, and my world should be, and what I can do to make it happen, just to realize there's nothing I can do. Is actually the less I do, the more it happens, because I'm more relaxed about it, and I'm more connected with myself. I'm closer to myself. So transformation and healing happens basically by doing nothing, by being there, by being present. And the same, it's the same chronology like with strong emotions or overwhelming situations. We have to recognize it first. We have to name it, as we did in the in-out deep slow guided meditation. We're recognizing what is happening and we name it. And then we have to accept it and let it in, and saying, I see there is an in-breath, and I accept the in-breath. If I want an out-breath at that time, I struggle, because it is an in-breath. It will never be an out-breath. The out-breath will come. So when it is an out-breath, we say, breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. And then we follow it. And this is the third step, is the embracing. So from recognizing to accepting to embracing, which is rocking your baby. If it's a good time or a bad time, if it's an in-breath or an out-breath, we follow it from the beginning to the end. And we're following it from the end to the beginning, and it loops and becomes an in-breath and an out-breath. Good times become bad times. Bad times become good times. As practitioners, we know that we cannot get lost in good times, and we know that they will end. Because often we believe that the good times will never end. There's songs about it, right? Let the good times roll. It's an illusion. And if we are honest with ourselves, we know day becomes night, life becomes death. We live in a dualistic world. It takes turns. And if you want to be happy, serene, equanimous, have a peaceful mind and a relaxed body, we have to acknowledge this wisdom, this insight. So whether it is good times or bad times, we are facing, we are there, we are present with our breathing, with our minds, in our bodies together. They team up because they are the best team. The mind not wandering around and looking for and imagining better times, but being right there where the body is. The body is tense, the mind comes to the body and embraces it, saying, I feel you're tense, I'm here with you. We're breathing together. And this place of transformation, I've been there when I decided to become a monk. I sold all my stuff on flea markets. I decided I'm going. I quit my job. I was about to quit all my contracts from telephone, employment, money, health care. I sold it all. I had a lot of stuff. I came home one night, wallet full of money, apartment empty, no carpets, no curtains, sofa sold, like PlayStation sold. It was literally echoing. My steps were echoing. I came home, I didn't even have like a cozy place to sit anymore. And I just broke down. I said, oh my God, are you like completely out of your mind? Like you're running your own bankruptcy, you know, like you sold everything you are, like everything I identified with. everything I thought I am, like all the safety, security I had, was gone. And you want to become a monk, you don't even know if they're going to accept you. You know, I wanted to go there and check out if I want to be, I don't even know if I'm going to like it after a couple of months. What are you doing? And everybody was like telling me, what are you doing? Like, you have such a great life, you should just enjoy it. But I wanted more. Anyway, I broke down. I really had a crisis. I didn't know what was going on with me. I was not sure about the whole thing anymore. I just thought everybody tried to talk you out of it, and you're selling yourself here. So I just broke down and couldn't do anything. I cried. I didn't understand, but I had that deep vocation within me saying, I want to do this. I want to leave this carousel, let's say, of life. I want to step out and live a meaningful life. So all I could do is surrender. All I could do is surrender to what was beating me up. I said, it's true, like, I'm completely mad. I'm sitting here with nothing. When I was crying, I heard it like echoing. I was hardly eating, I was hardly drinking. I was just like lying on that wooden floor, crying, not knowing what I shall do. I could not go back. I sold everything already. But what I had was the practice. That was what firsthand let me have this vocation, when I felt like I have to do this. I have to follow my heart and become a monk or become a practitioner. I want to do that full time and learn more about myself. So I had that. And with this vocation, with this inner call, I had purpose. So I continued to practice. And while I was crying and bursting and like desperate, I was still with my breathing. And I was still doing walking meditation. When I had to go to the toilet or the kitchen, I did it in walking meditation. And I was following my breathing while I'm doing my steps. And when I had to wash my dishes, I would wash my dishes in mindfulness, following my breathing. This was really my only anchor at that time, my only refuge I had, this island within, this place where I knew where I'm safe. Everything outside was uncertain. I was so vulnerable. I was so not knowing what was going to happen with me. And if they don't want me in Plum Village, what do I do then? I come back and I have literally nothing. The apartment was done like in a few days. I would have handed over the apartment to someone. And it took me 2 or 3 days. It just needed that time. I couldn't do anything. I went on walks. My sister tried to cheer me up. Nothing helped. It just needed time and conditions. So after being with that, embracing it, rocking it like a child, my despair, my uncertainty, my thinking that I'm completely out of my mind, my courage, if you want to say so, it soothed. It became more cozy, and I became less fearful. And I returned closer to myself. My heartbeat slowed down. Like in the meditation, calm, ease. I could feel my body calming, my mind easing. And simply by allowing everything to happen and to breathe with it, to be with it. And after 3 or 4 days, I was fine. I was out of the storm. And I was there, and I was sure again, I want to do this. And I know I don't have all these things, but these things are not me. Because now I experienced I am in here. And this is the only place where something like I exist and want to be, because this is a place I can always come back to. It's always there if I'm able to go there. If I'm able to let go and surrender and just look what is there. So we can actually, I don't know if I can say create conditions, because that's an active word again, but look out for conditions that can help us to let go. And recognizing conditions. And conditions are always there because, as I said, the present moment is always there. The question is if we are present in that moment. So if I make myself available, I can create the condition for peace, for understanding, for insight within myself, for clarity, for solidity, and to be in touch with myself and my heart and the voice of my heart, with my vocation, with my soul, what my soul wants to tell me. So I guess the message of what I'm saying is that I want to encourage everyone to allow yourself to be yourself. And Tai also often refers to that and said, we are human beings, not human doings. And we forgot that often. We are human beings, and that means we are. The best thing we can do is to be. That's enough. If we can be fully ourselves, if we can be fully ourselves, take refuge in ourselves, because we are already everything we need, and we are beautiful beings. And when we are able to let go of the ideas who we should be, who we could be, but stop, calm down, listen deeply, and look deeply, follow what is happening, trusting, surrendering, diving in, we find ourselves in our true homes. We find ourselves in the island within. And in that island, we meet ourselves. And at that place where we meet ourselves, we are in contact with ourselves. And from there, we can have a good relationship. Like the body and the mind, when they are talking, when the body says, I adore you, mind, because you can fly everywhere and you can literally be everywhere at the same time. And the mind says, I adore you, body, because only you give me that way of expression, and you're always grounded, and you're always a refuge for me, and you anchor me so much. The same is true in this place. We can communicate with ourselves. So what I would like you to do as a practical exercise to allow ourselves being ourselves is do some things different in your home. Like, I don't know, something what brings you out of routine. Like if you plug out your coffee maker and carry it on the other side of the kitchen and plug it in there in the wall. And then the next morning when you go to that place where it always is, and you say, whoa, where's the coffee maker? You know? And then you remember, and then you spark a conversation within, and then your body may kick in and say, my dear, last night you put it on the other side of the kitchen to give you a little reminder to be present and not to fall into routine. And allow yourself to be you. Allow yourself to be in touch with you, to talk with yourself, listen to yourself. And everybody knows that dialogue that is happening within us, it is happening even if we don't want it, right? We find ourselves talking to ourselves. So if you stop for a moment and said, what was that? Like if you talk to a friend, what do you want me to do? And whatever it is, what you say, what it wants you to do, do it. So that's how you build a relationship with yourself and to trust yourself. Because you and you are actually one, right? But because it's easier to talk to someone else, we talk to someone else. But it's us. So the more gentle and the more genuine and the more sincere and the more compassionate we build this connection and relationship with ourselves, the more we can be in touch with ourselves and have the power to be at home wherever we are, to be here at home. So challenge yourself and do some things different just to spark these conversations within yourself. Bring you out of your routine, get yourself somewhere, and then your mind starts speaking to you and you say, what was that? What do you want me to do? Who are you, by the way? And that's the way we become alive. We come alive and we get in touch with ourselves again. So I would love to be a little mouse in the next days in your house and watch you doing this, but I cannot. I will do my best to do it for myself here. That's it for today. I thank you very much for listening. Wish you good luck and a happy practice.